Hi everyone, I'm Jamie Tennille, here along with Jazzedge founder and creator Willie Mayette, and welcome to the first episode of The Edge.
Yes, thank you, Jamie. I'm glad that you're able to host this. Jamie is an actor, an acting coach, writer, and you have probably seen her in the Academy Award-winning film Manchester by the Sea, so we're very lucky to have her on board as well, so welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so what is The Edge? The Edge is, we're going to try and make it a fun, interesting show for music enthusiasts. Basically, they want to get better at their instrument. It's not just for piano, it's just music in general, but then also people that want to use music to enhance their brain functioning and brain power. So we're going to be taking a lot of questions from you and getting input from you, so be sure to subscribe to our channel, the Jazzedge channel, and be sure that you comment below this video so we know what you think about it.
And we did a poll for our YouTube subscribers a couple months ago, and the top thing that you guys wanted information on, or were most interested in, was improvisation. So today our episode is going to be focused on just that, on improv. So I delved and researched a little bit on improvisation and found an article I found very interesting and a TED Talk as well, which we'll add in the video description. But a few points that I found most poignant or interesting about that was, with musicians, the language centers of the brain are highly active, and it's almost like music is identified by the brain as its own language.
Right.
Which I thought was really cool.
Right.
And also, and I don't know if you can relate to this, they said the parts of the brain that, for example, inhibition, are less active.
Yep.
Kind of to let the creativity flow.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I've talked about this a lot on the lessons at pianowithwillie.com, and when you improvise, you have to let those inhibitions go. And typically what separates a student or novice improviser from a professional is the professional just plays. And when I go out and I play, I literally, in my brain, I'm thinking this may be the last time I ever play. I always just go for it. And I'm just putting everything into it. You know, just closing my eyes, I shut off the rest of the outside world. I'm listening. By closing my eyes, it allows me to really heighten, what I'm hearing. And if you're part of the Piano with Willie Facebook group, you probably have already seen some videos of me playing live, and if you're not a member of the Facebook group, definitely make sure that you get into the Piano with Willie official Facebook group, and we'll
stuff on there.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff on there. So anyway, but yeah, the lowering of the inhibition is definitely critical.
That's the same thing kind of with acting. To kind of get to a certain place, there's a certain level of vulnerability and kind of letting go and seeing what bubbles up, I suppose. I'm sure It's the same thing. Absolutely.
And by the way, check out Jamie's website, actorplaybook.com. She has her own website as well. So
that'd be great.
Definitely check that out. So anyway.
Oh, there was another quote. There was two co-authors of the article. It was Charles Lim and Alan Braun. And Alan Braun said how, I'm going to read it so I don't mess up his words because it was really good. He said, "It's tantalizing to think some connection exists between improvisation and dreaming, which are both spontaneous events, and that these musicians may in fact be in a waking dream." So I was wondering if you have you ever felt anything like that?
Yeah, actually,
state when playing or improvising.
Absolutely. So, quick anecdote. I remember one time I was playing a gig. It was a brunch gig, and it was with a drummer and a bass player, acoustic bass player, and you're just playing, and you're playing songs that you know, and you know the form of, so I don't have to be trying to think, oh, what's the song, so I can really lose myself in the music, right? And this is kind of one of the things I talk about with students, and that's owning the material. So when you really know the progression of a song and you know the form and where the song is going to go, now you're no longer thinking and wondering, oh, what chord comes next, and you could really lose yourself in the music. So this is one of these times I lost myself in the music, and I'm closing my eyes, and I remember opening up my eyes and literally watching my fingers move. It was a really up-tempo tune. And it was really weird because I had no idea what I was playing. And I'm not making this story up. I literally looked at my hands and I was like, what am I doing? And I had this like this out of body experience, but then the fear stepped in, and then I'm thinking like, oh my God, like now if I start thinking about this too much, I'm gonna mess up where I am, and it's all gonna fall apart. So I just went back and I closed my eyes and just kind of like, oh, okay, settled back into it.
Okay, that's nice that you trusted yourself and relaxed back into it.
Yeah.
Probably felt good.
Yeah, a lot of it is trusting skills, you know. In preparing for this web series, you know, we were talking about improvisation, and you know, I put a keyboard in front of me here. If you might not be able to see it, you know, but it's just a simple M Audio key station. And for those of you interested in the technology, I'm running this into a Korg module app. So this is the Korg module app, and it's right on an iPad using an iConnect MIDI interface. So I connect MIDI to an iPad, and it's just running to a speaker. Yeah, not so bad. Yeah, you could hear it. You could hear like the clicking of the keys and whatnot. But anyway, we were talking about improvisation, and you know, I want to just share with you a very simple way in which you could actually start to improvise, you know, at the piano. What we're going to do is we're going to end up in a little bit cutting to a segment, and I'll like cut to a studio segment in which you could see the virtual keyboard and all that. But when you look at the piano, you have white notes and you have black notes. And if you play just the black notes, that forms a scale called a pentatonic scale. And you'll notice that the pattern of the black notes is 3 and 2, 3 and 2. So if you go 3 and then 2, that forms the pentatonic scale. Penta, 5 notes, right? So it's a 5-note scale. So if you play just the black notes on the keyboard piano, right, it's all going to sound good, no matter what combination you do. Yeah,
is that a specific song, or did you just make that up?
Just made it up. Go ahead, you try. So any of the black notes.
I am not a piano player.
So you just play one note in the left hand.
Okay.
And then you can play, yeah, that's it. And this isn't the easiest keyboard in the world to play on.
Oh God. It is, like, to get over that feeling of not knowing what you're doing and being okay with it. And then that happens.
And that is part of that whole inhibition thing. Now the other thing too is also rhythm. So
fine, all right, I'll stop.
So rhythm is another key component of this as well, in that if you just kind of play notes randomly, it sounds random. But now, you know, one thing that I do is I do a vocalization approach with students on the site. So if we just do like a da, dee, ba, da, da, dee, ba, da, da, dee, ba, da. So now you apply that rhythm to notes, and now it's going to start to... Go ahead, no, I want you to try doing it. But then you do the da, dee, ba, da. Yeah, so you could now you can start to hear some organization as you practice this more. And of course, you know, fortunately, it takes practice, right?
Again, I'm thinking of what I've heard you say before, where the ear is forgiving to notes being missed, but not rhythm.
Right.
We catch that.
Yeah, I mean, we have this real innate sense of being able to hear when rhythm is a little bit off, all right? But note-wise, we will forgive that. So in other words, if I play something like like something like that, it's like kind of weird and abstract, but it has an interesting enough rhythm to kind of keep you engaged. Whereas if I just go, right, no, it's not that bad. It sounds good. But you know, in something like that, it's so disjointed that, like, not only the notes, but then also the rhythm. But now, even if I just take like just white notes, that's just a plain old C major scale. Just a C major scale, but you hear how, like, I'm playing it, it's very, you know, like all over the place. Whereas if I go,
wait, how was it?
adding in some of those black notes so it takes it outside of the C major scale. And it was like, that's how it was.
So how do students go from sheet music to transitioning to improvisation? Is there any tips or techniques that you can share?
Yeah, well, part of, like, that's kind of like what I'll be talking about in a little 2-minute piano segment in a few minutes. But what's important is when you're starting improvisation, one thing that's really important is, like, you got to know that it takes time. If you think you're gonna, like, sit down on Monday and then come Friday you're gonna be, like, improvising, like your favorite pianist, obviously it's not too realistic. So you always want to have a certain level of, realism. You also need technique as well. If I want to run a marathon, yeah, it's just running, but there's a technique to running. It's not just as simple as, like, oh, just go run.
Training.
Yeah, you got to train. You got to train for it, and then it's also not just running. It's eating, diet, clothes, like all of that kind of stuff. Hydration, vitamins.
You're gonna add that to your to-do list this year?
We'll see. Maybe a half marathon. I'm more of a karate guy. Right? Like, I'd rather get in a ring with somebody than think about running. What is it, like 13 miles for a half marathon?
Oh, do you remember who the piano player was who was also an amateur boxer?
Oh yeah, we were talking about that. Red Garland.
Yes.
Yeah, Red Garland, famous jazz pianist. If you haven't heard Red Garland, awesome pianist. Also did solo, albums with his own group as well. So anyway, having technique, and one of the things that I talk about at the Piano at Willie's site is piano essentials, and that's going through and making sure that you learn your technique. And it's not just like learning proper technique and how to sit and all of that, but it's also learning things like your major scales. And not just like, oh yeah, I can play my major scales. Like, it's not just sitting down and doing that stuff. It's like, damn, key of A flat, it's 4 flats, A flat, B flat, D flat, E flat, the 13th is F, in the key of F, sharp 11 is B natural, like all of that, like really knowing your key and knowing how to recall it super fast. Now again, that's a great thing for brain functioning as well. You learn that music theory and it's only going to enhance your brain functioning that much more. So typically when students start, you start with like a 12-bar blues. But the problem with the 12-bar blues is that now there's 12 measures, and if in 4/4 time that would be 48 quarter notes, right? It's a lot of notes in there, a lot of beats. So instead, I like doing something like very, really simple, like. I usually start students with something simple like that, even an adult, because it sounds cool, it's fun, and it's very easy. It's not heavy lifting.
I'm going to stop you for a second. So when students are beginning to improvise, they start with a 12-bar blues? Is that what you're saying?
Typically, when students would, like when I first started learning, it was a 12-bar blues.
Okay.
And a lot of teachers still teach in that method is using a 12-bar blues. So you go in a different
direction.
Yeah, I like breaking it down even more because I'd rather you master something like that and then have the time, like the the pacing of it. So it's not like like you have nice and steady to boom, 1, 2, rather than stuff like that, which is like kind of disjointed and janky. Exactly.
Jerky.
I thought you said janky. No. I like that word, janky. I gotta use that word more in my vernacular.
No, you should Urban Dictionary that before you do that.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I hope I didn't just offend somebody with that. Well, you can rewind it and hear what it was I said. So anyway, that's like your basic improvisation.
So is there a specific song that is a good launching point?
There isn't a specific song. Like something like that is just a very simple bass line. It's like basically in a C minor bass line. And I like that versus a song because when you start improvising over a song, now the ear already knows that song. Like if I was going to take a song like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, right, and start to improvise over that, your ear is going to already know Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and then your brain, and then also that reasoning center or whatever, like that center, like that little person on your shoulder. It's like, oh no, you played that wrong. You know, the judgmental side is gonna be much stronger because you know it already. You've heard it, and then it's gonna be a lot easier for you to say like, oh no, that was wrong. That wasn't right. Whereas something that you don't really know, it's just kind of like this like silly little bass line and some improv. Now you don't have the same connection to it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So. Right. Any other questions?
I think we answered them all.
All right, cool. So, all right. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch over to the 2-minute piano segment, and I'm gonna run into the studio, and we will be back in just a second. So let me move. Okay, so I got 2 minutes. Let me show you something real quick. All right, so if we take a look at some simple sheet music here, which, by the way, you can download this sheet music by clicking on the link below the video. Start with a simple bass line. 5, 3, 2, 1. It's all half notes. I also have a play-along track here as well that you can download. All right, so let me play along with it. Ready, go. Half notes, nice and steady, okay? Now this is beginner stuff, but don't worry, I'm going to give you some advanced stuff as well, and as we go on with some of these other lessons, you'll get some more advanced stuff, so further episodes. Now, I could take those 4 notes that I'm playing in the left hand and play them in the right hand as well. Dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-da. Dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-da. So notice the 4 notes in the right hand are the same 4 notes in the left hand. I'm just adding some more rhythm to them. Dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-da. Dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-da. Alright, now, you can also mix these notes up. We don't have to play in the same order. Alright, try this one. Alright, good. And then finally, we can add in an upbeat to this as well. So a lot of times I say on that 8th rest. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, here we go. Ba-dee, 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 ba-da, da. Ba-dee, 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 ba-da, da. Notice I play the C first, so it's left, right, together. Okay? All right, so now that's all of the licks you could come up with your own. If you're an advanced level player, you don't have to stay in C minor. Try moving it down to like B minor, right? Or another key that you might not be comfortable with, like even A flat. Can you play it nice and steady? Try adding in the flatted 7th below so you get those 5 notes. Down to F. You can play it along with that drum track as well. Now, if that's confusing to you, don't worry. Just play that beginner stuff for right now, okay? You get started with that nice and steady. Make sure it's nice and flowing, all right? And if you want some more stuff, don't worry. We'll be doing some more stuff in future episodes. All right, let me get back.
Thank you all so much for joining us, and thank you, Willie, for inviting me to be a part of The Edge. It was exciting to learn about music and stuff that's out of my realm of stuff that I usually do. So
you might have a role in which you have to be a pianist. And
like, I would need lots of help.
Right, you know, movie magic.
Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and we hope to see you for our next episode. And again, thank you for letting us be a part of your artistic journey.
See you guys later.
Adios.